Okay, guys, so continuing on with number 6, we've got triangle STU. So negative 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oops, down 3, 1, 2, 3. So S. And then point T is at negative 12, negative 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, negative 15. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. T. And then U is at 0, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got this triangle that now has this, we're going to do a dilation with a scale factor of 1/3. So if I do 1/3 on the calculator like we have been doing, 1 divided by 3, we're going to get a repeating decimal. So a way to get a more specific and easier answer, because we don't want to plot like that crazy of decimals on the graph, is to multiply fractions. So with 15, so we can take negative 15 and multiply it with 1/3. So remembering back to like 6th grade math, when you multiply fractions, you just multiply straight across. So this would be 15/3. Well, simplifying 15/3, that would be division, and you would do 15 divided by 3, well, negative 15 divided by 3, which leaves you with negative 5. So that's going to be the first point for S. And then the second point, we've got negative 3. So we do negative 3/1 times 1/3. That would be negative 3/3, which leaves us with just negative 1. Okay, much easier this way, so we actually have whole numbers and not any decimals to work with. Okay, so doing some side work over here for 12, we've got negative 12/1 times 1/3, leaves us with negative 12/3. So negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. And then we have a negative 15 again, which we already did for point S, so we already know that's negative 5. So go ahead on your papers and do U, which is 0, negative 9. So when you multiply anything by 0, it's still 0. And then when you multiply negative 9/1 times 1/3, you get negative 9/3, which is negative 3. So plotting that new figure, which is 1/3 of the size, negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, S, and then negative 4, negative 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then U is at 0, negative 3. There we go. Different way to use it, but definitely much easier than using that calculator on that one. All right, moving on to number 7. This one's a little bit different because you're given an image, and then you have to use the scale factor of k equaling 2. So we need to find the points of the original image. So M is at negative 1, negative 1, positive 3. N is at positive 1, 1, 2, 3, positive 4. O, original point, is at negative 1, 2, negative 1. And P is at negative 4, negative 2. So now we need to apply the scale factor of k equaling 2 here. So this is multiplying everything by 2, making it double the size. So taking everything by 2. So go ahead and do that and then plot the new figure. So you should have gotten negative 2, 6, 2, 8, and then O should be negative 4, negative 2, and P should be negative 8, negative 4. And if you plot that new figure, negative, negative 2, 1, 2, positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. N is 1, 2, positive 8. O is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, negative 1, 2. Ooh, that's weird. And that's the new point O. And then P is at negative 8, negative 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And that's okay, the points are the same. It's still double the size, and you can see that. All right, number 8 is kind of the same deal. You're given a figure. You need to figure out the original points and the new points with the scale factor of 1/4. So the original points, we have F, which is at negative 2, 8. We have G, which is at 4, 8. We have H, which is at 8, 4. I'm sorry, 8, negative 4. And then I, which is at negative 6, negative 4. So we have a scale factor of 1/4. So we can multiply everything by 1/4, or we can multiply everything by 0.25. You choose, it doesn't matter to me. Both ways are going to get you a good answer. So go ahead and do that now. So if you multiplied everything by the scale factor of 1/4 or 0.25, you should have gotten negative 0.5, 2 for F. For G, you should have gotten 1, 2. For H, 2, negative 1. And for I, negative 1.5, negative 1. So this is a little challenging when it comes to graphing because you have some decimals or fractions there. So for F, you're going back 0.5. So you're only going back halfway through this first one. And then you're going up 1, 2. So your point is going to be in between those two lines. So that's our new point for F. And then for G, we're at 1, up 2. And then for H, we're at 2, negative 1. And then I, again, is a little bit challenging because we're at 1.5. So we go back 1 and go back 1/2. And then we go down negative 1. So it's going to be in between those two lines again. So that's our new point I. So that figure has a dilation or a scale factor of 1/4, much smaller, 1/4 of the size. Okay, again for number 10, we're given that shape and we need to find the original, or I'm sorry, for number 9, we're given that shape and then we need to use the dilation of 3/2. So our original points, we've got Q, which is negative 1, 4. We've got R, which is 1, 2. We've got S, which is at 2, negative 2. And we've got T, which is at 0, negative 2. So we are applying the scale factor of 3/2. So we could do our division, and we could do 3 divided by 2 and get 1.5. So we could multiply by everything by 1.5, or by 3/2. I'm going to do the easy way, and on the calculator, I'm going to do each coordinate and multiply it by 1.5. So 1.5 times negative 1, 1.5. That was silly to type on the calculator, by the way. 4 times 1.5 is 6. And then go ahead and do the rest now, multiplying by the scale factor of 1.5. So for R, you should have gotten positive 1.5, 3. S, 3, negative 3. And T, 0, negative 3. Because of time, I can't graph it right now, but you should graph it in your notes. Okay, remembering that it's okay to have a decimal, it just goes halfway through. Okay, 0.5 is the same as 1/2. So number 10, we have our image of the triangle, which point A is at negative 4, 8. Point B, you can see, is at 0.4, 6. and C is at 0, -4. So our scale factor there is 3/4. And if we divide that on the calculator, we would do 3 divided by 4, and we would get 0.75. So we can multiply everything by 3/4, or multiply everything by 0.75. So go ahead and do that now. So for your new image, you should get point A is -3/6, point B is 3 and 4.5, and C is still at 0, but now at -3. It's going to be 3/4 the size. Okay, so go ahead and plot that new image now of the triangle. Okay, so number 11, a little bit different. You're given the two figures. You now have to identify the scale factor. Okay, so let's just pick a point. Just pick one of them. I'm going to pick the original point D and see where it's at. And it is at 0, +1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to see the change from this original point D to the new image, or the new point D. So D is at 0, +1, 2. So anything, 0 times anything is going to be 0. But let's look at the change from 6 to 2. It got smaller. Technically, it was dividing by 3, right? If you think about it, if we're going from 6 to 2, we divided by 3. But we didn't use division this whole time. We used multiplication. So we have to think of a way to multiply by something smaller than 1, by a fraction. Okay, so what is the same as dividing by 3? Well, it's multiplying by 1/3. Anytime you're doing that. If you're dividing by 2, multiplying by 1/2. Dividing by 4, it's the same as multiplying by 1/4. If you're dividing by 5, it's the same as multiplying by 1/5. Okay? So let's check to see if that is our real scale factor, which is multiplying by 1/3. So let's see, our original point E is at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. And our new point E is at 2, 0. Well, it's the same. 6 to 2, multiplying by 1/3. Let's try. 6 times 1/3 equals 6/3, which equals 2. So that is our scale factor. Our scale factor is 1/3. So we multiply by that 1/3. Okay, number 12. We have to identify the scale factor used to graph the image below. So let's pick any of these points. I'm going to pick point X. So the original one is actually smaller. So X here is at 2, 0. And the new point X is at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 0. So we have to think, how did we go from 2 to 8? Because 0 times anything is going to be 0. Well, 2 times 4 can get you 8. So that scale factor, it got 4 times bigger. Let's pick another point and just see if it works, see if we agree. So I'm going to pick W. So the original, or I'm sorry, Y. The original point Y is at -1, -2. And the new image is at -1, 2, 3, 4. -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oops, I had those switched. Oopsies. -2, -1, -1, 2. No, I didn't. Okay, let's see if it works. We're multiplying it by 4. Well, 1 times 4, 4. 2 times 4, 8. So that scale factor of 4 is correct. So K equals 4 there. Great, now it's time for you to do the practice. You're going to be doing the same thing using those scale factors. You can use a calculator, or you can multiply fractions by multiplying straight across. Okay? The answer key should be on there.